All right, y'all already know what time it is. It is time for the mess. So let's get into it, you guys. And what's going on, y'all? This be your boy, Scotty by Nature TV, and we're here for a brand new episode of Yes for the Mess, where we talk about celebrity gossip, hot topics, and all things reality TV based. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and I plan on doing the exact same. Now, before we get into today's mess, let's talk about what we got on the horizon. My favorite panel to do, okay? Boys Night Out is returning this summer. Okay, so make sure you guys are tuned in for that. Our very first production meeting will be taking place in July. Okay, the show will be returning in either August or either mid to late August or early September. We will be getting down to the get down with Boys Night Out. We're gonna do our very first production meeting. We're gonna talk about the show. We're gonna be switching some things around. We're gonna be doing different graphics, different theme music. The weight room music probably gonna stay the same. I really don't know, but this gonna be our very fourth season. This is our fourth season of Boys Night Out, and we're very excited about it. And the show started back up last season in August, and we ended it in the first week of January. So now we're gonna start it right back up in August/September. Hopefully we end it in December or the same way in January or whatever. We're gonna do it like that. We had to take a long break, y'all, because we all had a lot to do. Maddie had DragCon, Jamar was producing Chasing Atlanta and filming Chasing Atlanta, as well as doing movies. We had the Boss Babe Awards. Josiah had a lot of stuff going on. So did T. So we needed a break from the five of us. The five of us needed a break from the show, and we needed to get it, come back, regroup, and actually do a better season of this show. So the fourth season, I predict that it's going to be amazing, and I cannot wait for our very first meeting so we can discuss it. So yes, Boys Night Out is returning for those of you that are asking. The Chasing Dallas panel, me, T, Jamar, Carl, Jeremy, and Tramil, it will be airing on Thursday night. We will be going live here. And we'll definitely be talking about the show, the reunion itself, and we're going to have us a ball talking about it. So make sure you guys get into that, okay? Because it's going to be absolutely fun. I'm telling y'all it's going to be fun. So make sure you guys tune in to that. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into today's mess, okay? And today's mess involves none other than Carlos King. Now, Carlos King was giving his review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, but he also talked about Marlo and the mistakes that she's making as a peach holder. And I listened to it earlier today. I listened to it while I was taking my shower. And after I got done taking my shower and the video went off, I said, you know what, Scotty, this is going to be a good, commentary. I felt like I should come in and do some commentary on this. And I think that I agree with a lot of his points because, I don't agree with Carlos on a lot of stuff, but there's some things that I do agree with him on. Okay. And, like I always say, I like Carlos. I like Carlos for the things that he's done as a black gay man. You know what I mean? But just because I like him and all that other stuff, that doesn't mean that I can't call it out call it as I see it. And that's just what I do. I call it as I see it most of the time. So we're about to go ahead and get into this, okay? Because we have a lot to uncover, a lot to, to do. And we're about to go ahead and get into it. So let me go ahead and put this up here like this. And we're going to do this like this so you guys can see it just a tad bit more. There we go. We're going to listen in on what Carlos got to say, y'all. So let's get into it. Let me put my mic on mute so there won't be any echoes. So let's get into it.
I gave the first episode an A. I said the second episode was decent. Wasn't great. Wasn't bad. I said it was fine. I wasn't mad at it. Third episode, I'm like, Houston, well, in this case, Atlanta, we have a problem. Tonight, bitch, I'm like, if y'all like tonight's episode, because let's have a real conversation. And I only want to talk to the people who's been watching Atlanta Housewives since season 1. What I'm realized about this new generation who found the show, y'all started watching Atlanta Housewives a few months ago or a few years ago. And that's why y'all be trying to read folks who got something to say. I want the real ones, the real fans, the day ones, who has been watching Atlanta Housewives since season 1, back in 2008. Because those are the ones who really are going to understand what I'm about to say.
Let me stop that right there already. Y'all know I got to do it. Carlos, stop. Because a lot of us that be trying to read people, as you say in air quotes, we have watched the show from the very beginning. We have. I started watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta the very first season with my mother. My mother actually was the person that put me onto this show. I didn't start reviewing the show until I got my channel, which was season 3. You know, if you go back to my very first few videos, Real Housewives of Atlanta, I started reviewing it season 3. So I've been reviewing this show since season 3, since Cynthia and Phaedra first came on. So most of y'all don't know that, but I've been reviewing the show since season 3, but I've been watching it since season 1. So I'm one of the ones that be trying to read. Yes, I am, but I've been watching it from the very beginning. But I don't agree with a lot of the things that people be saying, because everybody always feels like the major thing is to bring somebody back, bring somebody back, bring somebody back. I believe in going forward with stuff and moving on. And the people that we keep asking for, they're never coming back. We keep asking for Nene. She's never coming back. She ruined it for herself with the network. She's never going to step foot on Bravo ever again. Portia might come back. Phaedra don't want to come back. And she referred to this show as the Titanic. Why would they want her back on their show? So absolutely not. You know, bringing people back. If you want these people back so bad, make a RHOA legacy the same way they doing a Roni legacy. Do a RHOA legacy and bring all them damn OGs back. You know, have a legacy show. Put Nene, Kim, Deshaun, Lisa, you know, even Sheree over there and do a legacy show for them. But Housewives of Atlanta got to move on. It's time to usher in a new generation of housewives, in my honest opinion. That's why I get irritated every time an episode airs. And if an episode is bad, the first thing they want to do is say, oh, we need to get rid of this person. We need to bring Nene back. We need to bring Phaedra back. They're not coming back. So y'all can let it go. That's my whole point. So it's not the people who just started watching a couple of years ago. Some of us that have something to say about it are people that's been watching the show since day one, Carlos. Let's not do that. I had to stop you right there already, but let's continue.
Some of y'all are catching up on Atlanta Housewives on Hulu, Hayu, YouTube, Peacock. I've been seeing some of y'all tweets talking about, I just watched season 6. Y'all just watched season 6, the greatest season of a reality show in history? But I digress. If y'all like tonight's episode, I'm going to quit my job, go back to my first job at 16 years old, which was Kentucky Fried Chicken in Detroit, Michigan, on the east side of the D, where I was a cashier, working the cash register, handing folks from all walks of life chicken, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, corn on the cob with butter, and a splash of salt. With a biscuit that you put honey into. You cut off the tab of the honey with your teeth, and then you spray a little honey on that biscuit with your fried chicken, and then you get the hot sauce, and you do a little dash of hot sauce on the chicken, and then you get the corn on the cob that has the...
I'm not gonna lie, I actually want some Kentucky Fried Chicken. If it wasn't for me having to do this panel in less than an hour, I'd DoorDash me some Kentucky Fried. But it's Memorial Day and my uncle has barbecued all day. So I can save my craving for this Kentucky Fried Chicken until tomorrow. Let's continue.
Has a splash of salt, and then you do like this. I'm gonna go back to working there, baby. If y'all thought tonight's episode was anything more than a 5 from a scale of 1 to 10, then what am I doing in this world? What am I doing? Y'all can read my shows. Carlos Huntsville ain't got this. DC, Belko. Child, y'all can read my shows. I don't care. Because we're all allowed to have an opinion. There are some episodes of my show that I'll be like, well, that was an okay episode. It happens. But I'll be damned if I'm having 3 or 2 consecutive bad episodes. I may give y'all one that's I'm like, that's a filler episode. Because that's what happens. Sometimes you have a filler episode.
But Carlos, every single episode of LAMH this season has been a filler. We got to be real. Every single one has been a filler. And I don't even review that damn show no more. Mainly because of the fans, really. And the whole woman hater shit they like to do, the fans like to do with their show. So, yeah, but this whole season has been a filler. It ain't nothing genuine about this season of LAMH. But Bell Collective, you got some on your hands with that. Because I'm loving this season. And like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with it being, down here where I'm from. It's just a good ass show. But LA, baby, let's continue, honey.
But if you're having a filler episode after the third or fourth episode of the season, then we're having an issue. Tonight's episode was really bad. And it's raising a flag of what's disjointed about this current cast. Somebody have to explain to me, on God's green earth, on Mother's Nature, why Kenya and Marlo are on the bus together going to Kenya's event that is personal to her.
I agree with that. I didn't think that made sense at all. If we're going to do a reality show, things have to make sense. And I know that on some things like a party or something like that, they got to invite everybody. That's understood. Or like the international trips, everybody got to come. But if it's just a little old trip to go to Alabama, Marlo didn't have to be there. Courtney didn't even have to be there. She don't know Courtney like that. Courtney nor Marlo needed to be there. I feel like the only people that should have been on that trip should have been Drew, Candy, possibly Sheree. But Sanya and Marlo and Courtney, oh, and I forgot Monyetta. The only people that should have been on this trip, Monyetta, Candy, Drew, possibly Sheree. But Sanya, Courtney, Marlo, they didn't need to be on that trip. Where was Akila? She could have been on the damn trip. Them other girls didn't need to be on this fucking trip. And I feel like the only reason why they had them on that trip was because Candy and Drew couldn't be there. I feel like that's the main reason. But Marlo should have never been on no trip. That's something very significant to Kenya. This was about Kenya. This ain't even about the whole group. This is about Kenya. So she definitely shouldn't have been there. But okay, we're going to leave it where it's at. Let's continue.
Why was Marlo there in the first place? Somebody needs to explain to me, how in the world does it make sense for Marlo to go on a trip that means a lot to Kenya when they don't like each other? This is the fourth episode. Y'all have not shown me a scene where Kenya and Marlo address their issue to where it would make sense for Marlo to get invited. The moment I saw Marlo on the bus, I'm like, oh, we in for some bull. Why is Marlo on the bus? Kenya and Marlo have yet to have a conversation about the state of their friendship or lack thereof. We haven't seen anything about them talking about their relationship. In real life, Kenya would never invite Marlo to the corner store, to Waffle House, let alone to a trip in Alabama. That made no sense to me. So when that happened,
that didn't make no sense to any of us, Carlos. So I could definitely agree with that. But you know what? I'm not even going to. Because I agree with him. I agree. But we ain't seen no conversation with Mel and Tisha talking about going forward. We ain't seen that. Why would Tisha be at Mel's kid's birthday party? Oh, so she can have a scene. Girl, let's go.
that happened, I was like, this is not going to end well. And guess what? It did not. And for me, it's one of those things where I hate doing this because I already know it's going to be like, oh my God, it lets you know that nobody is paying attention. No one. Anybody involved in this show is not paying attention to what's making sense. That small error of Marlo going on a Kenya Moore trip when the two have yet to have a one-on-one or even a conversation since the season started, it raises the red flag of what are we doing here? Is everybody on autopilot? Things are going to crash and burn if it continues this way. It was so jarring to watch that. And then I'm against Marlo's behavior. And Marlo, you know I love you. In real life, me and Marlo are cool. We're friends. I love Marlo. Marlo is a friend to Reality The King podcast. She was on the show. People said, wow, Carlos, your interview with Marlo really showed us what a good person she is and how cool she is. And yeah, she can be shady and all that stuff. We're all shady at the end of the day, some more than others. But overall, Marlo is a decent person. I brought that out of Marlo in my interview with her. But Marlo, tonight was the first time Marlo called me, because I already know what's about to happen. Your team, the fans, they're about to text you, DM you, at you, and say, Carlos King is reading you. And I'm telling you right now, as you're watching this, I'm not reading you. I'm trying to help and support you. And I need for you to take what I'm about to say as a friend. And you and I should have a conversation. I love you that much. This is my job. I have a job to do. And the moment I said I was going to do a podcast, I said I'm going to be honest. And if my real friends in this industry have a problem with it, they can call me, we can address it. And some have. Shout out to Potomac. One day I'll talk about that only if she approves me talking about it. Because one other Potomac housewife called me and she read me for filth. A Potomac housewife called me and read me for filth. And the whole time I'm like this on the phone. And then I was like this. I disagree. And then, this is the best part. And then at the end, she and I had a kiki, and I heard her side, and I apologized. I gave a good housewife apology. Well, I apologize if you thought that way. No, all jokes aside, we had a good conversation, and it was good. But she called to read me. She read me. She did. I felt like Monique Mike, like, I don't feel read. And then I was talking to my African, and he said, oh, she read you. And I said, I don't feel read, though. He said, you may not feel read because you don't take things personally, and that's why people love you. But if she was to tell that story to another housewife, they all would say, oh, you read Carlos. So my African said, she read you. And I said, okay. And me and her are cool. We were just DMing the other day. I love her. Hey. Anywho, Marlo. I have to read. Marlo, you got to stop. You got to, no, I got to be serious with this one. Dear Marlo, you have to stop, sis. It's not looking good for you. It's not. It's tonight's episode may have been your worst performance on the show because you're giving pick me vibes, and you're better than that. You are.
I agree with the pick me vibes. She's definitely giving pick me. I don't know if this is her worst because I've seen worse than this, but this is one of her worst. So I definitely agree with that. She's definitely giving me pick me because she wants to be counted. She wants to be chosen. So I definitely agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Let's continue, Carlos. Let's get to the base. Let's get to it.
Are better than that. What you displayed at that restaurant with Kenya was unnecessary, it was uncalled for, and it was uncouth. Kenya, and you can say what you want about Kenya. I told y'all when Kenya pulled Kim Phil's chair, I told y'all this story. I was there. And when she did, I was like, yo, what? I spoke to Kenya afterwards, like, because Kim Phil's ran into, not run, Carlos, Kim Phil's power walk. Child, Kim Phil's power walk. And I said, hold on, Kim Phil, slow down, sis. I don't jog, honey. Hold on, boo. And I said, Kim, go talk to your husband about what just happened, child. I'll see you later. So then I went to go talk to Kenya, and I said, that was bad. I said, Kenya, you know I love you. Now, what you just did right there, that was really bad. And the fans are going to read you, and I need for you to be prepared for the read. Kenya did not argue with me. She said, I know. She said, damn. I said, yes, that was bad. That wasn't cute. You did too much. You did too much. So I'm honest with Kenya. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Marlo. Kenya can be Kenya. Tonight, Kenya did not do anything to you, Marlo, for you to behave in that way that you did with Kenya. Starting at the restaurant, where you were talking over her, Marlo, like you were talking over her. It's not a big deal to be like, oh my bad, sis, I talked over you. You were like, well, what you gonna do about it? I can talk over who I want to. It's like, yo, Marlo, we're trying to film a scene. We can't film a scene where you're talking over somebody. So Kenya is like, I'm trying to get my soundbite out. She wasn't trying to check you. But because you suffer from Kenya Moore PTSD, Kenya can breathe. Kenya can say twirl. Kenya can say, I'm fabulous. And no matter what Kenya says out of her mouth in direction towards you, you will always take that as Kenya's trying to check you.
And that is a fact. She's gonna take anything that Kenya does and make it into she's trying to check me. She's gonna take whatever Kenya does and make it and say it as if, you know, oh, Kenya's trying to be the boss of me. Kenya's trying to put me in my place. It's the insecurity that's coming out. And I said that on the last video that I did on commentary when I did the commentary on Speak On It just a minute ago. That's what I'm talking about. It is the insecurity that is popping out of her. She doesn't know how to stand next to certain people because she feels like she is beneath them. No one's making her feel like they're beneath them. She's beneath them. She's making herself feel like that because she already feels like she's beneath them. So she's projecting her own insecurities over to somebody else. And that is what people normally do. They project their shit onto you to make you feel guilty. No, it's not going to work over here. Let's continue.
And I'm saying to you right now, Marlo, she wasn't checking you, but you're going to have to check yourself. It's coming across like you're bitter. And that's why I really want to talk to you, because I want to use this forum to really have you understand the weight of what I'm trying to say here. I love you, Marlo, and I'm happy you have a peach. If you continue down this road, you are giving everybody who has said Marlo is the prime example of why you don't give a friend of a main housewife title. People are saying that about you. And yes, you're like me. We don't care what people say. But one thing about me, and you and I did talk about this, Marlo, on my podcast, there's certain people in our lives that we do listen to because they have our best interests at heart. And whoever is in your ear telling you what you're doing is cute, they're not your real person. There should be nobody in your ear who saw tonight's episode and said, yeah, girl, you did that, honey. Yes. You didn't do that. That? No. And this is what I want to say to y'all. And I'm going to go deeper. And this is what, when I talk about personal story, and yes, we saw some tonight. Thank y'all for the personal story in tonight's episode. Bring Kim Zolciak back. That's all. Because if that's the personal story I'm getting, Kim Zolciak, honey, put on your wig that you're selling on eBay for $2,175.60. Put on that wig, baby. Go to the nearest liquor store, get a red Solo cup, go in your Bentley, take a pack of Newports, do a puff, pass, and bring your ass back down to Atlanta. Because if that's the personal story that I was asking for, y'all gave it to me tonight, we in trouble. Back to Marlo.
Please stop asking for Kim. We don't want her. Continue.
Marlo, you being a housewife is a big deal. And I know how much that means to you. And you deserve it. You put in the work. You put in the time. You clocked in. You paid your dues. You did your book report, class report, extra credit. You stayed after class. You wrote on the chalkboard like Bart Simpson, I will be a housewife. I will be a housewife. I will be a housewife. You did it. Round of applause. You did it. And you deserve it. And I said to you, you deserve it. But I'm going to go deeper here. What you said on my podcast last year, when you said that you feel like none of the peach holders outside of Sheree, you said you feel like none of the peach holders give you the respect of you being a housewife. And that bothers you. And I believe you because you're wearing that on your sleeve when you're in scenes. When you are a housewife, Marlo, you have to be in the moment. You have to listen to conversation. You're no longer friend of. Friend of, let me break it down for y'all. Friend of feel like they have to do everything to get noticed because they're a friend of. They don't get confessionals, none of that. They're friends of. Marlo, you gotta get out of this friend zone mentality that you have. What we're seeing on the show is you're behaving as somebody who has something to prove. And I'm gonna say this, Marlo, and you're gonna have to agree with me because I know deep down inside you do. You're looking for Kenya's approval. Kenya's approval means the world to you.
Boom. That's why she hates her so much. She wants to be accepted by Kenya. And anytime Kenya doesn't accept her, anytime Kenya pays her dust, it bothers her. I keep telling y'all, she wants the validation from someone that don't even like her. It's the insecurity. Keep.
And you don't have it. And every time you film with her, you're reminded that this woman that you may have, now I don't know this for a fact, a lot of Black girls from that generation, Kenya Moore was a poster child of chocolate beauty. Every brown-skinned Black girl back in Kenya's era looked to Kenya as the epitome of beauty. And I feel like, Marlo, when you look at Kenya, you're reminded that this woman does not respect you being at the same table as hers. So every chance you get, you try to diminish her because you feel like Kenya's silence to you is disapproving you. You want Kenya's approval, and you're not getting it. You want the other girl's approval who holds a peach, and you're not getting it. And it bothers you. And everything you're doing on the show right now, Marlo, I'll bring it again. Everything you're doing right now, Marlo, is a display of somebody who's not comfortable in their position. You know how, like, you work so hard to get promotion? I'm talking to, like, us folks, like 9-to-5ers, no matter what skill you have or job you have. You know how, like, you looking for that promotion, and you work hard and you work hard and you work hard to get this promotion. And then you finally got the promotion you deserve. And you're promoted to like senior vice president of this department. And all of a sudden you're walking around trying to check folks because you feel like, child, I got what I wanted. I'm good. I got what I wanted. And you start to change because you start to let the promotion get to your head. Or when you date the hot guy that all the girls want. How they blow me up? You date the hot guy that all the girls want. And you got him. And you do everything and rub this guy in people's faces. You post him on Instagram. You want to prove to people that you deserve him. Because in your mind, you feel like, wow, he chose me? He didn't have any girl he wants, but he chose me. And your insecurity starts showing by, where you going? Where you at? You start questioning him. You start doing the most. And he's like, babe, I love you. You're my lady. But because you feel like he's out of your league, your insecurity starts to show, excuse me. That's how Marlo is behaving as a housewife.
That's what I am saying. It's the insecurities of it all. She thinks that Kenya is superior to her, and she doesn't feel comfortable standing next to her. She feels inferior to people like a Candy or a Kenya because they are more successful than her, or they have more going on than she does. So out of insecurity, she takes out the time to pretty much run down on them and pretty much bash them and try to make them feel less than her because she feels that they're more than her. And that's not necessarily the case, but that's what she thinks out of her own insecurity, out of her, like, it's the validation tactic. I want to be liked by this person. She don't like me, but she's bigger and better than me. And I want that acknowledgement from that person. Just like I said on my last video, I wanted the same thing. I wanted the same thing. I did. I wanted that acknowledgement from people that really didn't see it from me. I wanted that acknowledgement for people who would never see it from me. I wanted that acknowledgement. I wanted that pat on the back for something that I felt that I was doing that was great. But when I wasn't getting that acknowledgement for doing something great, it would hurt my feelings. But why would I need that when the people that love me already told me how good of a job I did? So why do I need to go to people who would never see anything that I do as good? People who will always find something wrong with something that I'm doing, somebody that I could never please. Why do I need validation from them? You want to make everybody happy. You want everybody to like you. That is the problem. She wants to be liked. Sometimes you just got to deal with the fact that everyone is not going to like you. Sometimes you got to deal with the fact that you're not going to fuck with everybody and everybody's not going to fuck with you. This year it's only been 5 months in this year, and I've learned a whole lot in these 5 months. It's been a long road and lost friends, then been attacked every which way by people that I don't even fucking know, all this other stuff. It's been a lot. People that I thought was my friend that was out here doing shiesty, shady bullshit behind my back and all kinds of stuff. It's more shit to come out every single day about certain people, and it'd be crazy. But at the same point in time, it's a learning experience. Everybody's not gonna rock with you, and that's just the truth. Let's continue.
I don't feel like you feel like your peach is secured enough. Even you kicked Kenya's hotel room door. We just saw you talk about wanting to get your record expunged. We just saw you talk about how I'm not that woman I was 23 years ago. Well, baby, if you're not that woman 23 years ago, Marlo, you're gonna start having to behave in that way. Because kicking someone's door who has a child in there and you're banging on the door, that is behavior of somebody who acts like they were 23 years ago, Marlo. You're not helping your case with that. You're not helping your case in the housewife stratosphere, and you're not helping your case at the courthouse if they want your record expunged. Because what they're gonna do is play this scene and say, no, that's still the same person. And I'm trying to help you, Marlo, like that was bad. And the fact that all y'all stood around and saw her do it, and none of y'all said, like, look, Marlo, bitch, I'm all about you making good TV. Like, look, Marlo, I'm all about you making good TV. None of y'all said to Marlo, like, girl, you're doing the most. You're gonna look crazy in these streets. Come here, bitch. Like, none of y'all told Marlo she looks crazy. None of y'all. I, the producer, saw Kenya pull Kim Field's chair and said, yo, stop. Y'all know me because I was a part-time security guard on Housewives. I saw Portia get about her seat. I was like, no, Portia. I love you. I'm protecting you from yourself. No, Portia. On the boat. When Portia did all this at Cynthia's face. Is that what you said? Is that what you did? Is that what you did? I saw Portia do that. I was like, oh, I'm running. Saw her walking like Kim Fields, talking to the elevator. Portia, we ain't doing that. None of y'all can stop Marlo and say, look, Marlo, no. Marlo, that's indefensible. Indefensible. I can't defend that. Last year, I felt like your first season as a peach holder, I felt like I understood why you were looking for the approval of these peach holders. I understood that last season when you came on my podcast and talked about it with me. I understood that. This is your second time as a peach holder, Marlo, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin and holding your own peach and holding your own. Because if you continue on like this, Marlo,
Because she's definitely not holding her own. She's latching on to people to stay afloat. She's latching on to other people's lives to stay afloat. She's latching on to people trying to make them look bad to stay afloat. So you're right about that. She needs to try to hold on to her own peach, because at this point, I don't think she's gonna have one for too much longer, and she didn't need one in the first place. Continue.
I hate to say it, Marlo, but it may not end well for you, and that would just be horrible. Because it's like you're grasping at straws. The whole thing with Candy and look, when it comes to things that happen where people grieve and bad things happen, I always tell people, like, you can't tell somebody how to grieve and you can't tell somebody how to respond to someone's grieving. I just, and maybe I'm the minority in this, I just think it's uncomfortable for everybody. So to harp on that, I don't. It's hard to register that. I even said on Potomac seasons ago when Giselle and somebody was talking about how Karen lost her. I think at this time she may have lost both her parents, and they were on a cash trip. And instead of going out with the girls, she said, I want to take time to myself to like process. I'm still grieving pretty much. And then she went on Instagram Live with her fans and they read her. And I was like, if that's how she wants to process her grief, why are we judging Karen for? That's what she wants to do, how to process her grief. We all process grief differently. And that's why I'm not judging how Marlo's reacting. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm just saying, like, it's hard to make that a point of example when everybody chooses that differently. It's just, I don't know. And then look, those to me were the highlights of this episode, because I really wanted to spend today's recap focus on Marlo, because the episode to me wasn't great. Go ahead, y'all think it is? Tell me in the comments why, and I'll read it. But, and then one more thing. You could tell that this Alabama trip meant a lot to Kenya because she was trying to do a good job being the host with who does the most. You know, she wanted to own it. And one thing I will say to y'all before I go, when you are shooting a reality show, okay, and there's a party that you have to, an existing party that you are invited to attend, meaning the cast is invited and the cameras, the production crew is invited. Let me tell y'all what happens to explain why they got kicked out tonight. When you ask, you need permission. So when you ask the venue if you can film there, 10 times out of 10, they're going to say to you, you have 1 hour to get what you want and get out, because they can't play popular music. So you're not going to hear Drake, Little Baby, Beyonce's Renaissance album that the Love and Marriage cast of men listen to at the after hours. So the venue and the promoters always feel like reality cameras disturb the mood. We disturb the vibe because y'all can't play music and people are staring at the housewives. So imagine you at the club and you see Kenya and the girls walk in. Instead of you trying to get the man with a bottle of Hennessy, you too busy staring at the housewives like, what they doing? You taking pictures. Venues and promoters hate that. So what y'all saw tonight was, think about it. That's why Kenya was like, we're going to be late, because she knew I have a certain window of time to film. That's why she was rushing them. That's why she was mad that they were late, because she knew I have a certain window of time to get what I need to get. So that's why when you heard her talk to the producers, they were like, we got to go. They're kicking us out. They don't like us being there. It does nothing for them because people are paying to party. They're not paying to listen to Marlo and Kenya argue about a dress or an invite. They're not there for that. So that's what happened tonight. That's why they got kicked out. That's why they had to leave. And that's why Kenya said lights out, because I'm pretty sure Kenya was embarrassed. Like, it's my event, it's my trip. Y'all gonna show me not having a good party and I'm gonna look crazy. And that's why it's like, to add insult to injury, y'all have Marlo go to her hotel room and kick the door. I don't know what else to say. Look, we'll see how the rest of this season is going to go. The preview for next week's episode doesn't look good to me, so it doesn't. Sometimes I wonder, and I'll do a separate video on this, but I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Sometimes I wonder if a new group of friends should be a part of Atlanta Housewives.
Now you say that, but any other time y'all hollering, let's bring Nene back, let's bring Kim Z back, let's bring Portia Phaedra back. Any other time y'all saying that, but now continue.
Like real friends, like a friend group, should just go and be a part of the show to represent what Atlanta really is. Because Atlanta in 2008, when the show first started, that's not Atlanta in 2023. It isn't. Atlanta right now The women in Atlanta right now are very different than the women in Atlanta in 2008. I want to see the real estate agent in Atlanta, honey, who is making millions selling homes, honey, and her Instagram is litty. You know, the real estate agent that be posing like this on Instagram. And she's looking down on the ground like she dropped a penny with a hole in it. You know those pictures of girls on Instagram be taking? And you be like, what are you looking at? Why are you looking at the flow? I sometimes wonder if that's what's needed. But I'm going to do a separate video on that. That's all I got for y'all. It's funny because my African, we were watching the show, and then I was watching a little bit of Summer House. By the way, I love Summer House. And I was like, let me get this video out the way because I'm sleepy. So I get up and I tell my African, I said, I'll be back. He said, where you going? I said, I'm going to take my recap of Atlanta Housewives episode. He said, oh, that should take you 3 minutes. I said, why 3 minutes? He said, because nothing happened in this episode. It was horrible. And that's my African, who's not in the business. I said, you like this episode? He said, did you? I said, no. He said, nothing happened. He said, it was awful. And he loves reality shows. His favorite is Love After Lockup. I started watching Love After Lockup because my African started watching it. His favorite reality show is Love After Lockup, The Family Chantel on TLC. Am I saying it right? The Family Chantel. I saw a few episodes. I said, this one is good. And he loves Huntsville, and he loves him. He loves Bell Collective. So I took more than 3 minutes. Let me get back to my African child. But tell me what y'all think. Do y'all agree with me? Do y'all disagree with me? And I'll see y'all in the next round.
And the answer is I agree with Carlos, even though there are some things that he said that I had to stop and correct. But I definitely agree with everything that he said in regards to Marlo and her future role as a peach holder. She's not going to make it if she keep on doing it the way that she's doing it. Like, she's thirsty. It's not looking good for her. Like, she's thirsty for a storyline. She's thirsty for attention. She's not holding her own. Her whole thing is, I'm gonna call Candy out. I'm gonna be the one to call Candy out. I'm gonna do what the fuck the Nene, Portia, and Phaedra fans need for me to do. They want somebody to call Candy out, so I'm gonna call her out for any little thing. It's not working. It ain't working because even though you did all that, they still not fucking with you, Marlo. You should have used all that time to try to figure out what you gonna do with your own damn storyline. You should have took out the time to figure out what your place was gonna be on this show. You immediately got on this show and you sat down next to Andy. I don't know why you sat down next to him in the first place. You shouldn't have been doing it. That whole seating arrangement was a hot mess. But all in all, you know, you're not doing yourself any favors. Everybody don't like you. And there was a lot of people that were definitely rooting for you to finally get a peach. They want to know about your life. But we still don't know nothing about you. But you sitting up here pointing fingers at one person that shows all of their life. Like Kenya and Candy have showed a lot about that, a lot of personal story. You don't have no personal story outside of your nephews. If your nephews weren't on this show, what exactly will we know about you, Marlo? You're not doing anything special. All people giving you kudos for is activating Candy and making her work. But that's all you got. You a one-trick pony. You doing the same stuff you did when you was a friend. If that's the case, you could have just been a friend. What's the point of giving you a peach? But just like we said on the last video, you wouldn't have had no peach if Cynthia and Portia never would have left. But even still, they shouldn't have gave you no peach any damn way. They brought Sanya in as somebody's replacement, and we could have got a whole nother housewife. Monyetta could have been a new housewife. If we being real, she could have been a new housewife. Either one of them girls that was on Atlanta Exes could have been a new housewife. But get them a check. Shit. Tori Hart was a good candidate. Would have been good. Her and Monyetta already know each other. They was already good candidate. You could have had Tamika Foster, great villain. It's a lot of people that was on that show that could have been on Housewives. So many people, but y'all choose to pick Marlo. She got to go. I don't care. She got to go. But all in all, I agree with most of what Carlos had to say. I do. When it pertains to Marlo, I definitely agree with it. Most of it. But what y'all think? I know this is a premiere, so I know y'all are in the comments, honey. So just let me know what you guys think if you're watching the replay. All right, put it down below in the comment section. So with that being said, this be your boy Scotty by Nature TV. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and also click on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a video drops. If you want to follow me on any form of social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok will be down below in the description box. With that being said, y'all, your boys up out here. And until my next video, I will holler at you good people a little bit later. Bye.